Hello and welcome to something new. So, you may be wondering why this fancy background, why this jazzy music. Well, usually when I stream, I play video games. I play Osu, I play Risk of Rain, other things. But today I decided to try out something else, something I have not done before. Because if you don't know me, I do enjoy playing tabletop RPGs. And I thought, today's session on Saturday that I was going to DM apparently or unfortunately got cancelled. So why not try out streaming a little bit of tabletop RPG adventures? So today we're going to play a solo story in Call of Cthulhu. So this is gonna be interesting. I've never done one of these before. And if you don't know how this works, essentially, maybe you have had one of these books before where you read like a section and after that you are presented choices. And depending on what choice you take, you skip to a different page in the book and then you skip back and forth and eventually you have an ending. And this is apparently how this works as well. So, just as a little bit of introduction, I will be having my dice tray in this corner, and I will be having my character sheet in the bottom right corner soon. I hope you can read those. I'm not sure how well Twitch will process it. So if it's a bit pixelated and you can't read it, then I'm sorry. This is essentially a test run, so we see, so I can see how this works and what settings I need to use and how big I need to make things in order to make it viewable for every viewer. Yeah, it's gonna be that. Also, this is a pre-recorded video, unfortunately, so there will be no chat interaction. Except from my future self, which is right now for you. So I will be in chat and I will answer questions, something like that. Also, excuse me if you hear a little bit of background noise every now and then. People are sometimes a little bit loud here where I live, so can't really do anything about that. Now, yeah, with all that said, let's dive into the mysterious and dangerous world, Call of Cthulhu. The sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. It's a relief to put down your heavy cases and take off your hat for a moment. You fan your face. It has been a long summer here in your hometown, and yet a curiously empty one. You look across the street at the grubby butcher's shop, the grocer's with its faded awning and the shabby tobacconist. Mistrustful faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and luggage. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. You were happy down south as a child, among province's white-walled houses and leafy churchyards. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Yet, everybody you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham, not one soul. You ask yourself one last time if you are doing the right thing. The answer is here. None of your supposed friends have come to see you off. You're alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it will be a new life and a brave one. A small grey motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. You put your hat back on and pick up your cases. Two young men with sullen expressions alight from the coach. One looks up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he is rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. He gives it a final twist and examines you as he reaches for his matchbox. He is a thin man in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company emblem. Yet his eyes are sharp in their dark sockets. Where to? You show him your ticket for Ossipee. From there, you will connect to Rochester and Portsmouth, before the coastal line to Newburyport, and finally Arkham. You should be able to afford a rail ticket for at least some of the way. Otherwise, this will be the first of many long bus trips. The driver scratches the match and lights his cigarette. The end flares as he takes a draw. Then he exhales and gestures to the back of the coach. The luggage rack's up there. Alright, so this is where I am going to create my character, at least partially. So because this is a story for new players, I have a blank character sheet that I will be filling out over the course of the adventure. And I can now fill in my main stats, which means I get to put 140, 350s, 260s, 170, and 180 somewhere. So why don't we start with the 80? What do we want to be? Let's go ahead and let's make ourselves a I like to go with power characters. So let's put our 80 into power. And then we have 170, which I will probably put into education, because I also like being educated. Now we have 260s. I like going for a 60 int because this is a little bit of metagaming because I really like having extra bonus points. Although I'm not sure if I actually get to use those points from these main stats in this in this regard. So we'll see how that goes. Let's go with a 60 in. Let's go with let's go with appearance. You know what? Let's make ourselves a beautiful character. So we have 350s and 140. So let's go with the 40. What do we? I think our character is not very strong. Let's put the 40 into strength and let's put the 50 into the rest. So that's that. For the purpose of this, I will not be filling out the, or do I? Let's fill out the half values because they're the easier ones, and I'm not sure if I want to fill the others out. Let's go with that. So this is going to be 20. This is going to be 25, and this is another 25, and another 25. This is going to be 30, 30, 40, and this is 45. Sorry, this is 35. So I mean the fifth values are pretty easy for these things. So this is 10, 10, another 10. Ooh, that's a weird one. Another 10. Wait, I messed up. So this is a 10, this is a 10, and this is a 10. And 40 divided by 5 is, and I know this is basic maths, so this is an 8. And 60 divided by 5 is 12. So, and this is another 12. And 80 divided by 5 is 16. And 70 divided by 5 is 14? Yes. Okay. So, there we go. There we got our main stats. Let's go ahead and continue. So, the driver smokes and watches as you drag your cases onto the back of the motor coach. The rack is set inconveniently high on the vehicle. You get a grip on the heavier case. So, this case, I need to make a choice. I don't need to make a choice, but it says either my size is 40 or it is higher than 40. And in my case, I'm pretty sure. Let me have a look. I don't have both of those open. So my size is 50. So that means I go to this one. The driver continues to enjoy his cigarette, watching with keen interest as you struggle with the cases. You grit your teeth and have a second one into place, and heave the second one into place. Perhaps the residents of Arkham will have better manners. The driver flicks his cigarette into the gutter and steps into the motor coach. Its engine coughs into life. Be bored, grateful that you will be the only passenger for the initial part of the trip, at least. With mixed emotions, you watch from the window as the tired avenues of your old home slip behind you, receding into the distance. For a few moments, you can still see the church spire over the brow of a low hill. Then the road dips and it, too, is gone. Arkham is your new home. You will travel there and make a new start. So, I'm going to read this because this is a bit of a longer text. You will see 2 smaller boxes to the right of each characteristics value. Half each value rounded down. I see. Okay, I've already done this. So in the strip below, you will see tracks that record sanity and magic points. Beginning sanity is equal to your original power, and beginning magic points are the same as the value you've just assigned for power divided by 5. So we are going to do that. So our starting sanity is going to be 80. So where's the 80? There's the 80. There we go. You know what? Let's just underline it. And our magic points is going to be this value right here. So we are this value. So this is going to be 16, which I'm going to mark. And max MP is 16. Starting sanity is 80. And maximum is 99. So, then let's continue. The coach put us through the countryside. At first, the interior is stifling and your stomach lurches with every bend in the road. However, the driver opens his window, and by switching seats, you find a spot where the breeze hits your face. You soon relax into the journey, observing the quaint little hamlets that the coach serves. A heavy-set woman boards at one settlement and gives you a polite nod. She gets off at the next one. The road rises a little, passing cornfields and orchards. The leaves are turning and the trees are alive with glorious reds and golds. You have just begun to doze when the driver takes a tight bend at speed. Alright. So, next part of our character progression here. Add size and con together, then divide the total by 10, rounding down. This is the starting value for your hit points. Mark it on your investigator sheet. So, size and your con. So this is going to be 100 divided by 10 will be 10. So, going to mark this here and put 10 in here. So, you also have a luck score. Roll 3 6-sided dice. We call this 3d6. If you are new to role-playing, you can read about role-playing dice. Blah, blah, blah. We know all of this already. So, we are going to roll 3d6 now, which I'm going to do. I'm going to put those aside for the moment, and then I'll roll my d6. So the first one is going to be a 1, which is unfortunate. Second one is going to be a 5. And the third one, a 6. So this means I have rolled a total of 12. And I am going to multiply this by 5, which is going to be 60. So we start off with a juicy 60 luck points here. So let's go to our luck. And oops, no, I did not want to do that. Let's mark 60. Yeah, again, I think I'll just underline it. There we go. So now you must make a roll against your dex. Okay, so this is going to be the first roll of this campaign. Roll a d100. This means rolling two 10-sided die. Blah, blah, blah. We know this already, or I do. So, what I essentially need to do is I have my dex value, which in this case is 50, and I need to roll 50 or below. So, let's go. This is going to be a total of 8, because double zeros means 0, and this is an 8. So this is in this case, this is even an extreme success, because I rolled lower than my value divided by 5, which is the bottom right corner of this. And I know this looks somewhat like a 2, but it's a 1. I promise. So we pass the dex roll. So we go and continue. A desperate yell awakens you. You feel yourself slide from the seat as the driver spins the wheel and the motor coach plunges off the road. You grab hold of the seat in front just in time to prevent a painful fall. The coach stops with a thump. Now you see what has happened. A Fordson tractor has stopped in the road and your driver has had to swerve to avoid this obstacle. He leaps from his seat onto the road, unleashing a string of curses at the farmer. You take a moment to catch your breath. Perhaps you should offer assistance, but the driver has already returned. He backs the coach up a little and threads it around the tractor, glaring at the farmer. You resume your journey. The driver takes the curves with more caution than before. He glances over his shoulder at you a couple of times. "Sorry about before," he says. "That fella was dumber than a hog. I'm Silas. What's your name?" The accident was at least as much as Silas' fault as the farmer's. but it doesn't seem shrewd to antagonize the man while he is driving you through the middle of nowhere. Okay, so here I have to make a name for my character and record it in my investigator sheet. You may add an age for the purpose of this adventure. Your character should probably be aged between 23 and 36. Okay, so let's go back to our character sheet. And for our name, we're going to choose, let's go with something generic. So we call this John. And last name is going to be Hendrix. Which is going to be played by me, Flo. And we don't have an occupation yet, so it's going to be. So sex is going to be male. And age is going to be, it said, so on the character sheet it said it should be between 23 and 36. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to, first of all, remove this dot. And then we are going to set our age at, let's go with 30. Yeah, it is kind of blocking a bit. Wait. Oopsala. 30. So, back to the story. The coach turns onto a narrower road, which weaves uphill through woodland. Silas becomes chatty. Going to Arkham, eh? Can't say I've ever heard of the place. Went to Boston once, didn't like it. Too much hustle and bustle. You got family there? A special someone waiting? The afternoon is wearing on. You see no harm in confiding in Silas about your new life. A job, eh? What's on your line? So, now we are going to choose an occupation. We have 5 choices here. We have antiquarian, we have doctor of medicine, we have a journalist, a private investigator, or a professor. And I think, because this is probably the one I usually like the most, I'm going to go with private investigator. So I am going to go to 249. So also I am going to add my occupation now. Maybe. I'm not sure if I can draw on this again. This is kind of meh. I'll just put this here and then I go to so private investigator. So there we go. We put this back in here. John Hendricks, the private investigator. And I'm sorry if you can't read this, by the way, but this is not the most important thing. If you can read any at all. So, your credit rating skill is 20. So, this means we go to our credit rating down here where the skills are, and we have a credit rating right here. So we put 20 in here. So this means this is 10, and it means this is 4. If we ever get to use this. I have yet to use credit rating in one of my stories. So, your occupational skills are photography, disguise, law, library use, psychology, spot hidden, and one of either charm, fast talk, intimidate, or persuade. You may also pick any other skill except Cthulhu Mythos as a personal specialty. Allocate the following values among these occupation skills, writing in the large square besides each. 70, 60, 60, 50, 50, 50, 40, 40. Ignore any starting value already mentioned in the investigator sheet. So this is essentially a fast way of doing this. So let's go first. Let's see where we want to put the 70 in. So I think I will be starting off the 70 with fast talk, because fast talk is generally pretty important. So this is going to be 35, and this is going to be 14. Then we have two 60s, and I think I want to put one 60 into spot hidden, which is this one. So spot hidden is usually used whenever you want to see something that is hidden. It is very self-explanatory. And the other 60 we are going to put... let's put it into... Oh, you know what? Let's put it into psychology. Let's go with something extraordinary in this case. Now, psychology, if you come from D&D, psychology is somewhat of your insight check. So this might come in handy. Okay, so we have now 3 50s, and we still have library use, disguise, law, photography, and one other skill of my choice. So, let's I think I want to put a 50 into a skill of my choice. So, let's go with what might be useful here. Let's see. Maybe so I think I want to put a 40 into disguise. So let's put a 40 in here. It's going to be 20, and this is going to be 8. And let's put another 40 into... Let's put another 40 into photography. So let's put in here photography. And this is going to be 40 as well. So we have a 20 and 8. And then we have 3 more 50s, and we have still law, library use, and one of my my own choosing. So library use is here. So this is going to be a 50. Makes this 25 and this 10. Then we have law, which makes this 50, this 25, and this also 10. And then let's see, what else could we do? So I think I might want to go with stealth, because maybe there's a way to stealth around, who knows? I could also go with occult, which is the closest to Cthulhu mythos that is not Cthulhu mythos. And I could also go with history, maybe, although I'm not sure if this is really useful in here. So I think, you know what? I think I will just go with stealth and see where this is taking us. So, or I'll do fighting brawl. I could also do fighting brawl. I'm sorry if this is taking a moment, but this is kind of important. So, listen. You know what? Let's go with listen. You never know what you might have. So 25 and 10. So that's that. Let's continue. You realize Silas hasn't made a stop since the incident with the tractor. The motor coach wins its way uphill. However, your thoughts are interrupted as the road crests a ridge, and you are treated to a magnificent view of the vista below. A creek snakes through the valley, breaking the rich autumn palette of the tree line. In the distance, the white mountains rise into hazy cloud. There is no settlement, not even a cabin, as far as the eye can see. Birds drift through the treetops, and you can just make out what might be 2 white-tailed deer lingering by the water. Perhaps you are making a mistake by moving to the city. Could you survive on your own in this lush wilderness? You have a base ability in most skills, listed in brackets after the skill name. Oh, okay, this is this is sorry. This is no longer, but it wasn't in italic text. So, for instance, you have 20% climb and a base dodge equal to half your dex. Choose 4 skills which are not your occupation skills, nor Cthulhu Mythos. These are your personal interest skills. Boost each of these by 20. At this point, you may like to calculate half and 1/5 values for each skill, in just the same way as you did for the characteristics. Remember to round down. If you are bored of calculations, you can leave maths until it becomes necessary. Okay, so how many do I get to pick? 4 skills. So let's choose 4 skills. And we want to boost them by 20. Okay, so let's see. Maybe I get my stealth after all. I think I want to have one of these at least. So like history, archaeology, and accounting. Or appraise can be very useful for determining like things. I think I want to have at least a little bit in history. So one of those will be 25, and this is going to be, oh my god. This is now 12, and this is 5. Okay. This is the first one. Let's go with the second one. The second one is going to be... Let's do first aid. You can never have enough first aid. So 50. This is 25, and this is 10. So that's the second one. The third one. Let's see. What could we use as third one? I mean, it did sound a bit like survival might be useful. I don't know. Let's go with fighting brawl just in case. So this is going to be 45, which divided in half is going to be 22, and this is going to be 9. And then we have one more. So we put the last one into. Let's do. I want to have at least one physical trait just in case. So I think I might now. I mean, I could go with climb. You never know when you want to use this. Could also go with navigate, because that might be useful. I'm not gonna go with ride. Kind of want to have one physical trait. I think I'm gonna go with climb. You never know. So let's go with climb. So this is gonna be 40. This is going to be 20. And then we're going to have 8 in here. So. Okay. Then let's continue. The motor coach rattles through the hills and Silas lapses into silence. The sky darkens behind you, pinks tinting the clouds as the sun descends. Finally, a welcome sight comes into view. A settlement on a crest of a hill. This doesn't look like the pictures you've seen of Ossipee, but perhaps you can persuade Silas to stop while you stretch your legs. 5 minutes later, a harsh stuttering from the engine interrupts your reverie. Silas frowns and rattles the gear stick. The motor coach falters into ascent. Silas utters a curse you don't recognize and grinds his teeth, struggling at the wheel. You seem to inch up the hill until you reach the first buildings. Low dwellings constructed from a rough red stone. Silas wrestles the coach into a small bay off the road. He scrambles from his seat, makes for the engine compartment. You must now choose to make a roll against Drive Auto or Psychology. If you choose Drive Auto, you need to roll equal to the skill value. If you choose Psychology, you need a hard success. This is a roll equal to or less than half of the skill value. You may attempt only one skill roll. So, drive auto or psychology. So psychology is hard, drive auto is normal. So because psychology, I've put points into, the hard success on psychology is actually easier than the drive auto. So we're going to roll and see. We want to get a 30 or lower. This is a 10 and this is a 9, which makes it a total of 19. So this is a hard success because I needed to reach a 30, which is good because now we can continue with 162. You sense a falseness to Silas's actions. He is acting. Either he is not as aggravated about the breakdown as his behavior suggests, or perhaps the breakdown itself is an act. If this is a ruse to make you spend your time and money in a local shop, he will be sadly disappointed in your purchasing power. On your investigator sheet, mark the small box to the left of the word psychology. If you successfully complete this adventure, you will have the opportunity to learn from your experience with Silas. So, essentially, every time you successfully make a check without having to spend luck, you can add a check mark like this, or like I'll just use a cross because I think it's easier to see. And then you can increase that. You may be able to increase that value after the adventure completes. So let's go to 194. Silence opens the engine compartment open and sticks his head inside. The hot metal pops and sizzles. He spokes at various components, then withdraws and wipes his brow, smearing it with dark grease. I ain't sure what's wrong. Might be the oil pressure. Might be something knocked off kilter when we took that spill. Can't do much until the engine cools neither. And with the light failing, I reckon we'll be here through the night. He wipes his hands on a rag. The shadows from your surroundings are already long, and the air is chilly. You feel stiff from the journey, and the night in the rickety coach sounds unappealing. Silas sees your dismay. This here's Amberhead, miles from any place. I only come through twice a week, but the folks here are good people. May Ledbetter keeps a spare room. She'll look after you. Up that alley, turn right, first house on the left. He scratches his cheek, looks again into the engine compartment, and spits on the ground. Meet me back here at 8 in the morning, and we'll see how we stand. So, now I'm being given a choice. I can look for May Ledbetter's house. I can ask Silas where he will spend the night, or I can challenge Silas about the breakdown. Seeing that I am a private investigator, I kinda want to challenge him. So, let's do that. You confront Silas with your suspicions. His brow darkens and he shows a mouthful of twisted teeth. Ain't that just like you city types, he spits. Thinking the worst of a man after he's gone out his way to attend to your comfort. He stalks around to the back of the coach and hauls your bags from the rack, dumping them on the ground at your feet. Take him! Otherwise, I guess you'll be accusing me of thievery in the morning. He marches off into the darkness, raging. That could have gone better. You drag your cases between the sullen buildings. You feel surprisingly wary, considering you have spent all day sitting down. Silas's directions led you to a modest dwelling with a slate roof. The nameplate reads Ledbetter, and underneath a sign in a neat copper plate reads Lodging Room. The lane around you is gloomy, but a lamp flickers in the window. A breeze chills your face. You're not about to begin your new life by sleeping in the street. You rap on the weather-beaten door. After a moment, you hear footsteps inside the house. A bolt is drawn back and the wooden door swings open. A figure with loose curls and a rough-looking house dress peers at you. Her gaze takes in your traveling suit and your cases. Her voice has a slight Irish tilt. Hello. Should I take it as you're looking for a room for the night? You inquire as to her rates, suppressing a grimace. As far as you've seen, the village does not offer many alternatives. Oh, you'll find them very reasonable, she says. You look tired. I'm May. Come inside and we'll talk over a cup of tea. The Ledbetter house feels cramped, with a low ceiling and simple fittings. But it is well kept and a cheerful fire crackles in the grate. The aroma of the tea is soothing and the cup warms your fingers. Have you come to Emberhead for the festival? Asks me. So, I can either ask about the festival, or I can explain what happened with Silas and the coach. So I think I will go ahead and ask about and tell her about Silas and the coach. May shakes her head, and you glimpse a moment of deep-seated anger in her green eyes. He always drives too fast. Thinks the road is made for him and him alone. He hit a mare some years back. That was a terrible thing. You should have seen the state of the coach. You'd be surprised at the damage done. She sips her tea and gazes past you, into the corner of the room. With living here, though, we can't afford to antagonize the man. He's about the only link we have to the world at large, and he's not a bad soul at heart. I suppose that going the same route for 15 years makes a man careless. You have to forgive him. May goes silent for a long moment. Then her eyes flick back to you. But you didn't come here to listen to me blather, and you must be hungry. I can rustle you up a bit of a stew. How would that be? You ask again for her rates, and May names a price, so low you accept without hesitation. The room is small but comfortable, and the stew dark and hearty. After dinner, you have a couple of hours before your usual bedtime. So, again, another choice. I can talk a bit more to May. I can walk outside and get my bearings, or I can turn in for an early night. I think I'll walk around outside. That's what I'm gonna do. There we go. May's brow creases, and you announce your intention to take a stroll. Mind how you go, she says. Emberhead's surrounded by cliffs, and we don't have your fancy street lamps here. Take the lantern and watch your step. Outside, you see what she means. The sky is overcast, and only a few glimmers of moonlight peek from the clouds. Without the heavy lantern, you would be walking in a near total darkness. You cannot hope to get an interview of the village tonight. May Street is a narrow passage hemmed in by squat, dark dwellings. At the end, however, it opens up. A wide thoroughfare leads off to your right. A crude sign names it Silbury Street. To the left, a few yards away, your light picks out the crooked posts of a simple fence, and beyond that, the ground drops away into darkness. You take a couple of steps closer, but you can see nothing. Air from below cools your face, and some instinct makes you look around. An ink-black figure stands in the road, about 20 yards behind you. It stares at you. You form the sudden impression that it will run at you and throw you over the cliff edge. This is unsettling. Seeing it has been spotted, the figure slips down an alley. So, I can try and go to the house, to the Ledbetter house again, or I can try and confront the dark figure. I think I'm going to try and confront the dark figure. As you approach, the figure takes a pace back, then another. It slips down an alley between two buildings. To catch your target, you must make a track roll. Okay. Let's go ahead. Also, I am assuming that, because it didn't say anything about that, but I know this rule exists, that I am able to spend luck points to make a failure into a success. Which I am probably not even gonna need. Let's see how high my track is. I think it's pretty shit. So track is 10%. I rolled a 28. But I think I am going to spend 18 luck points. So, which brings this down to 42, which is a lot. So 42, which is this one here. And turn this into a success. So, let's go ahead to 141. The figure moves fast with almost silent steps, but your instincts keep you on its trail. It slips through a dusty courtyard, veering off between iron fences. You close in as it darts around a corner. A breeze warns that you are getting closer to a cliff edge. The flickering light from your lantern picks out its grassy lip as you charge in pursuit. You slow your pace, watching for unexpected voids beneath you. The watcher pulls further away, but rather than darting back into the maze of streets, it makes for the cliff edge. Close in. The dark figure swings its head to stare at you once more. You receive a brief, uneasy impression of something wrong with its face. Then it leaps over the cliff edge. Your mouth drops open. You approach the edge, lantern swinging in the wind. Dim light plays on the rock face beneath you. Did you frighten somebody into suicide? Your gut says not, but you cannot explain what just happened. I have to make a sanity roll. And if I fail, I lose 1d2 sanity points. So, my sanity value is 80. And I need to hit that or go below it. That is very unfortunate. This is an 87, which is a fail. So in this case, I am going to lose 1d2 sanity points, which means I am going to roll a d6, and 1 to 3 is going to be 1, and 4 to 6 is going to be 2. So this is a 2, which means I am going to lose 1 point sanity. Ah, I see. Okay. I'll just remove this for ease of use. So let's do this, and then we do. I think this was 80, and this is 99 again. Okay. So you find your way back to the Ledbetter house, the lantern trembling in your grasp. If May notices your unease, she says nothing. You feel wary. As May stands, you hear a clunk behind you. You look over your shoulder, but all you can see is a wooden door securely closed. May toots. The young lady of the house. She'll have been listening to us. Ruth, come and greet our guest. There is a short pause, then the door creaks open. 2 wide eyes peer at you from the gap between tousled hair and a rough nightgown. What do you say? The eyes blink. Pleased to meet you. Now, get back into bed. The door closes again. My daughter Ruth, 10 years this summer. She's a delight and a torment all in one. Don't worry, she sleeps in with me. She'll not disturb you. Good night now. You retire to your room. It is a little chilly, but you are too tired to worry about lighting the fire. The sheets are clean, and the bed soon warms up. The silence outside is strange after living in a town for so long. But you soon drop off. You dream of fire in the gate, coruscating colors shimmering through the dancing tongues of flame. At first, they are tiny, almost microscopic, but they grow and grow until a kaleidoscopic inferno spills from the fireplace, spreading across the floor up the sheets. You awake with a start. Daylight glints through your curtains. You get up and examine the grate, blinking the sleep from your eyes. It is quite cold. If you have taken any damage, you may heal 1 hit point back from your night's sleep. May seems to have no running water, but has supplied some in a ceramic jug. You freshen up at the washstand and go in. She cooks a hearty breakfast and leaves you in peace to eat. At about 7:30, you are paid up, packed, and ready to go. You bid May goodbye, and she wishes you the best for your new career in Arkham. If you succeed a high skill roll last night and wish to investigate the results further, go to 178. I did, although it was with luck. But I did succeed. I'm a private investigator. I am going to investigate further. So it's 178. You retrace your steps of last night. A few villagers watch with polite curiosity as you thread your way along the northern cliffs, bags and tow. In time, you think you have found the spot. Heart thudding in your chest, you peer over the edge. Nothing. With the benefit of daylight, you see the cliff is not the bottomless drop you imagined. It leads to a shelf some 20 yards below. It could still be a lethal tumble, but you see no body, no blood. Make a spot hidden roll. That is a crit! Oh my goodness! Okay, so 00 and a 1 is going to be a critical success, which is very unfortunate because I don't think this will account for critical successes. But I definitely managed to succeed. Also, I can now check mark my spot hidden. Also, I cannot check mark my track because I used luck in order to succeed, and that does not count. So, let's go to the next part. Your keen eyes pick it up after a couple of minutes of scanning the cliff face. There are a series of protruding rocks combined with what look like man-made incisions. The effect is an ingenious hidden stairway that leads down the cliff. No doubt the dark figure used this to descend safely. You look along the lower shelf. You see only a few drab shacks off to your right. This might have been an interesting find were you not about to leave Emberhead for good. You've discovered a secret. If you ever need to climb or descend this Northway cliff, the text will offer you as a hint. At that point, if you want to try the staircase, add 100 to your current entry number and go to that entry. Okay. If you want to, if the new entry does not seem to fit, you should return to your original entry and carry on. Restore 1 sanity point. You may check mark the small box beside the spot hidden skill. Okay, I already done that. But I'm going to gladly restore a sanity point. So this brings me back to 80. And now I'm going to go to 192. You're already tired of your heavy bags. Hopefully Silas has repaired the motor coach and you can resume your long journey. A sourpuss he might be, but the old driver seemed to understand his vehicle well enough. You pause to check your watch, still 20 minutes early, and round the final corner. The motor coach is gone. You put your bags down and search the area, trekking up and down slopes and around corners. At the edge of the village, you trace the long road back as it winds across the hills. 8 o'clock comes and goes. There's no coach to be seen. A passing villager notices your bags. Looking for the bus? I heard him take off at first light. He's due back in 3 or 4 days. If you need a place to stay, may let better rent a room. The man raises his hat to you and strolls on into the village. You curse Silas under your breath. Perhaps he went for parts, but you wonder if the old goat has stranded you here on purpose. May is doing laundry and looks surprised to see you again. Forgot something? When you explain the situation, she offers to store your bags while you try to arrange alternative transport. You're grateful to relinquish the load. Nobody here has anything like a car. She strokes her chin and narrows her eyes. Maybe you should find somebody with a horse or a cart for your bags. I could ask around later. Try Mr. Winters at the village hall. He'll know if anyone will. Or ask among the artisans. Their workshops are first left on Silbury Street. She reaches over and squeezes your wrist. Don't worry, I won't see you sleeping in the street, money or no money. You thank May and turn to face the village. So, I kind of want to try this out now. So it said, so first of all, I'm going to write down the 218 chapter or like section. And then I'm going to try and add 100 to go to that extra place now. Which is going to bring this to 318. Which does not work. Okay. Or maybe... No, wait. I think I would have had it as a hint, right? Yeah, okay. So then let's go to 6. I'm still a bit new to this. Also, I need to drink a bit. I'm sorry. You wander the streets of Emberhead without any particular destination in mind. The village is built on a relatively flat upland with splendid views. To the north, the hazy tips of the White Mountains reach for the heavens. To the south, the sparkling waters of a lake, Winnipesaukee, touch the horizon. The village itself takes less than 5 minutes to cross from edge to edge. You arrived on the winding road to the west. Winding road. The only other road leads to the south, following a lower ridge of land as it turns east. In the southwest of the village, an open grassy space borders a ruined church, its graveyard cresting the cliffs. To the northeast, the 3 main thoroughfares meet at the raised black metal structure. It looms, stark against the blue sky. So, you may now ask about transport to the local general store, seek out the village hall, or walk down the lower level and check out the eastern road. Also, can I now add 100 to this and it makes sense? Let's try it out. I'm not gonna read it out unless it makes sense. Doesn't. Okay, I think I would. I think I need to wait for a hint, as it said in the description. So, I think I am going to walk down the lower level and check out the eastern road, which is going to bring us to 115. The air is fresh, and the walk down to the lower ridge invigorating. You notice cultivated fields stretching through the lowlands around Emberhead, and among the crops, some livestock but no horses. Are you going to have to make your onward journey on foot? Further down, the road skirts the edge of the ridge and descends. There are few scattered hovels here, with signs of habitation. They are set a substantial distance apart. As you examine them, a door opens, and an older man steps out. He wears a bedraggled suit, but carries a piece of cloth, which he tosses over his head like a hood. As he does this, he sees you and freezes. I need to make a luck roll. Okay, my luck is currently. 42, which is not very good. Let's see. That's an 8. I make it. Okay, so if you succeed, turn to 127. So let's go. Man, good rolls today. Except the sanity check, but that's fine. I got the 1 sanity point back. So, the man looks up at the village, scanning the cliff tops. You get a brief flash of his face. There's something unsettling about it. Then he turns to walk away from the road. But as he does, he raises a hand and slowly beckons to you. If you follow the strange man... do I follow the strange man? I kinda do want to follow the strange man, so let's see what it does. You follow the man around the outcrop. He glances up, then steps between 2 rocks and vanishes. Closer inspection reveals a narrow channel leading into the cliff. There's just enough light to see a small natural chamber within. You will be uncomfortably close to this man if you go inside. Do I keep following? I have a feeling this will require... Do I have stealth? I don't have stealth. I didn't take stealth. I should have taken stealth, man. Shit. Okay. I want to keep my distance, so 160. You turn back to the road and your core business, getting out of Emberhead and onwards to Ossipee. The ridge gives you a good viewpoint from which you can see the course of the road. It winds with the hills, disappearing into woodland for a while before emerging further on. You lose sight of it somewhere towards a second patch of woodland. By your best estimation, that is at least 6 or 7 miles distant. You see no other settlements or traffic. It may be worth taking a chance and walking. The weather is still mild, but you will need supplies before you attempt it. Okay. You are beginning to get your bearings in Emberhead. Would you like to explore some more? Oh, can I now go back to that thing? So, you may choose another option from those below. Do not repeat a previous choice once you have tried 4 options, or before that if you are ready to move on. Go to 3. So I can ask about transport and go to the general store, seek out the village hall, walk down the lower level and check out the eastern road, which I've already done. Examine the large metal structure, explore the church, look for local people with their own transport needs. I'm sorry, I just lost the... Fuck. I lost my thing. That's kind of bad. Okay, it was 25. I remember it again. Okay. So. Oh, man. I'm not sure if I really should have followed that guy, to be honest. Let's examine the large metal structure, which is gonna be our second one. So this is 57. You walk up the approach, the most central of the village's major streets. It points directly at the odd metal structure. As you emerge from the shade of the nearby buildings, you are greeted by a magnificent panorama spread from the north to the southeast. The last colors of fall tint the hills in a sleepy gold. The structure, by contrast, is made from uncompromising iron, singed black. It supports an immense curved platform at the level of your head. Further, struts snake up to a central point. It looks like they may have been some kind of sculpture at one time, but are now twisted and melted beyond recognition. An older gentleman passes, looking up at you with rheumy eyes. "Are you here for the festival?" he asks. "That's the beacon. When they light it, night after next, you'll be able to see it 10 miles away." He gives a little nod of satisfaction and moves on, leaning on his walking stick. Now you notice bundles of wood, tied and stacked against the buildings nearby. Perhaps this festival would be an interesting diversion, but you really must head to Arkham as soon as possible. Make a spot hidden check. Yeah. Ooh, that is a 92. That is unfortunately a fail, and I do not want to spend 32 luck points. And I mean, I would be able to push such a roll, but because of this adventure, and it didn't tell me to be able to push a roll, well, I mean, I probably could have. I could push the roll. I'm not going to. For the sake of this, I'm not going to. So, go to 25. So, this brings me back to my choice hub. So, that was the second one that I could take. I can still look for local people with their own transport needs. I can explore the church. I think I'm gonna do that next. I can also seek out the village hall, and I can also ask about transport. So I think I'm gonna explore the church next. You cross the street towards the church. As you glance to your left, you gaze alight on the large metal structure. Something bothers you about its positioning. You back up and look again. Yes, Amberhead's central thoroughfare points directly at the structure. This seems too precise to be a coincidence. You press on and draw into the shadow of the church. The building is in a sorry state. The top of the steeple is missing, a ragged gash of splintered boards marking its absence, and the floors beneath it have collapsed. It appears to have torn through the roof of the main building as it fell. Only the back half is still intact. The white paint, which once covered the church, has yellowed and peeled. It seems safe enough to explore the rear section. Old pews are stacked against the wall, choked with mildew. Most of the windows are broken. You guess this church has been disused for about 20 years. There is little more to interest you. Make a ride roll. You may have a bonus die. Roll the 10s twice. Okay, if you succeed, go to 46. Okay, so let's do a ride roll with advantage. That is a 10. I don't think I'm gonna need any more advantage. Well, I literally cannot roll better than this. So it's a 20. What the hell? Okay, so this is going to be a 10 on riding, and I think I have a what is normal riding? Right, it's 5. It's 5. Oh man, this is so sad. Well, I'm not gonna push my luck any further. I'm not gonna do that. Let's go to 25. Which is unfortunate because I don't get to check out anything. So, okay. So that was the third option. Let's see what we can still do. We can still go to the general store. We can also seek out the village hall. And we can still look for local people with their own transport needs. I kinda... Let's ask for transport at the about transport at the local general store. Let's do that. Which is gonna be the last option. The general store is in a corner beside the main road, just before it plunges to the south. The shopkeeper is a brisk, immense lady with a starched apron and strong shoulders. She looks hard at your unfamiliar face. Transport! There's a motor coach. Okay, I shouldn't talk like this. Transport? There's a motor coach. Comes through twice a week. Missed it? Truck brings in my supplies every second Tuesday, but he's not due until this next weekend. She shrugs. It seems Emberhead is content to keep its distance from the outside world. You have enough money to buy 1 or 2 inexpensive everyday items here. Note them down on your investigator sheet. Remember, this is year 1927. The shop stocks no weapons except a dusty hunting knife, which you may purchase if you want. Okay, so 2 inexpensive everyday items. So I think I will buy the knife. So, let's go ahead and note that down. So we scroll down here to gears and possessions, and we go a dusty hunting knife. And you know, let's buy a rope. Let's buy a rope. You can never have enough rope. Oops. Okay. And then we go to 25 again, which is again the choice hub. But because we did 4 things already, we need to move on. So your morning exertions have left you hungry. You roam the streets of Emberhead looking for sustenance. There is nothing resembling your busy cafes of your hometown or anything that might be called a restaurant. It is beginning to look like you will have to get supplies from the general store when May Ledbetter comes down the street with a girl trailing in her wake. This must be Ruth. As she notices you, she races past her mother and approaches you with a smile. This is a different Ruth from the shy creature of last night. As she reaches you, she stops and stretches her arms up in celebration. She looks up into your eyes. Abruptly, the smile drops from her face and she looks several years older. Get out before the festival, she hisses. Get out! She blinks hard, then scuttles back towards her mother. May approaches, wrapping an arm around her daughter's shoulders. She smiles. How are you getting on? Have you found transport? Startled, you explain the frustrations of the situation. I try Mr. Winters in the village hall. He's always in of an afternoon. You'll be hungry by now. Help yourself to any food in the house. The door's not locked. You glance at Ruth, where she has squirreled herself behind her mother's leg. Her eyes implore you to silence. If you ask Ruth about what she said, go to 9. If you ask May about what Ruth said, hell no. If you say nothing, I'm gonna say nothing. If people tell you you should leave in a whispering voice, you shut up. Okay. You take your leave of the Ledbetters and head towards their house. The door opens easily. In the low kitchen, you make a meal from stodgy bread and leftover stew. A little window offers a view to the mountains. If you learned one thing this morning, it was that Amberhead streets hold little to occupy for the visitors from out of town. But there are still about 5 hours of daylight remaining. You could take some provisions and the bare essentials from your luggage and set out in the hope of reaching another settlement before dark. Or you could ask advice from Mr. Winters. Okay, so prepare and walk out of town, or head to the village hall instead. I kinda want to visit Mr. Winters, but I also kinda don't. That's the thing. Do I visit Mr. Winters? Come on. We visit Mr. Winters. Let's go. The village hall overlooks the lower north ridge of the village. You walk along Silbury Street to find it, conscious of the oppressive black metal structure framed at the end of the road. The shutters of the hall are open and some windows left ajar. There is no knocker, but a little bell over the entrance tinkles as you push the front door. Inside, a sturdy door to your right is marked Private. To your left, an opening leads through a bright room. You take a few steps inside. Benches line the walls and there are 2 notice boards mounted between the windows. Okay, we can examine the notice boards, or we can knock on the closed door. Let's take a look at the notice boards first. The floorboards creak beneath you as you cross the room. You feel a slight spring in your step. Perhaps this room is used as a gymnasium for the village children. One notice board appears to be for adults of the community, and one for the children. The former looks neglected, featuring handwritten advertisements for household items and a yellowed note about telegraph pricing. There is nothing about the festival. The children's notice board has a schedule for weekly crash services and a number of paintings obviously done by the children themselves. Most are incoherent, though colorful. As best you can tell, they depict fireworks, or perhaps the tale of Joseph from the book of Genesis. One has lost a pin and hangs upside down. It shows a giant bird attacking Amberhead. Or it might simply be that the artist had not yet mastered the subtleties of scale. Make a spot hidden check. Man, 80. That's a big yikers. I don't want to spend any more. I really don't. I don't really want to spend any more luck. I already pushed my luck. Okay, so this is an 80. I fail. So 37 it is. The door scrapes behind you. A middle-aged, bespectacled gentleman appears in the doorway. May I help you? You explain you are visiting on May Ledbetter's recommendation. Ah, well, I'm Clyde Winters. I'm not sure I can help you, but would you care for some coffee? I'm partial to a cup in the afternoon. He gestures to the open door behind him. This seems like a worthwhile opportunity, and you are a little thirsty. You step through the door marked Private. The other side of the village hall is in marked contrast to the public space. The room is compact, lined with shelves of books and file alcoves. One corner is reserved for a tiny pantry and what is presumably a water closet. You study Mr. Winters as he fills the percolator. Although thin on top, his hair is oiled and neatly swept back. His suit is a sober affair and well tailored, even if the cut is a little old-fashioned. A lesser man working alone might have loosened his bow tie for comfort. On the desk against the opposite wall, you notice what looks like a telegraph set. I can ask him about the telegraph immediately, or I can have a small talk with him first. Let's have a little chat first. The pot begins to gurgle as you exchange pleasantries with Winters. Living here, it's a trade-off, like so much in life. He looks past you at a high shelf. I could wish for access to a proper library, of course. But I know... I could wish for access to a proper library, of course. But I know myself well enough. I'm strictly a dabbler in the cities. His face wrinkles in distaste. Too many people. Everybody rushing and shouting. We have a special place here in Emberhead, and someone must accept responsibility for keeping it so. That was my father before me, and now the duty falls to me. He lifts his chin and straightens up. This evening, as the sun sets, look out at the landscape around the village. We have peace up here, halfway to the stars. Are we not privileged? This is not worth the hardship we must accept. He looks at you speculatively. This seems a good time to ask about the telegraph. The telegraph, Much as we value our isolation, we do need the link sometimes. You were hoping to send a message? I must apologize. The line has been down for 2 weeks. I reported the fault, but of course, they're not so speedy when the problem lies in a rural area. I'm expecting a repair the day after next. I do appreciate how frustrating it must be. The coach is due. In what? 3 days? But I think he's going west. Perhaps you might engage a wagon. One of the farmers might. You explain that you have asked for a few of the residents already, but to no avail. I'll tell you what. Winters pours you a steamy cup of coffee. The dark liquid smells rich and strong. When the repair crew arrive, I'll ask them to take you back with them. How would that be? They might want $1 or $2 to grease the wheels. The day after tomorrow? That's less than ideal. But it's the first real opportunity you've had. So I can thank Winters, or I can ask about his library. I think I'm gonna do that. So let's ask about the library. Let's get a bit of a drink. You make a small but flattering remark about a couple of the volumes on his shelves. Winters blushes with pleasure. Well, of course they're not my personal collection. They belong to the village, he says. But I did select most of the recent items. This is the community's library, you see. I put up the private sign to stop people just wandering in from meetings in the other room. But this is really a public space. You scan the shelves. There's a sparse but respectable collection of mathematics and the sciences, passable sections on history and arts, and a shelf of literature. He has a few lowbrow novels tucked away in a corner with tatty copies of Bizarre Tales magazine. Quality does not always equate to popularity, I'm afraid. Winters gives you an apologetic smile. So I can take time to search to research in the library, or I can leave while it's still light outside. I am going to go through the library. Winters is happy for you to spend the rest of the afternoon in the study and offers you an upright but comfortable chair. You have enough time to pursue one line of research in depth. So I can read about the history of the area, I can read about the festival, I can read something from the sciences, read some of the weird fiction. Okay, I can only do one of those. That is like very unfortunate. So, I mean, the most obvious thing would probably be about the history of the area and the festival. But why would it also say that I can take a look at the sciences and the weird fiction? I kinda want to take a look at the weird fiction. Let's go with that. Let's go with the weird fiction. So that is 94. Winters raises an eyebrow when you settle down with the tatty magazines, but says nothing. The stories in Bizarre Tales are fanciful affairs of prisons in orbit, devils imprisoning middle-aged women, and mechanical spiders traveling between planets through radio waves. You become immersed in a science fiction story in which unfathomable stilt men stride through a steaming swamp beneath the moon's surface, enthralled to floating, mesmeric brains. The improbable, eerie tale amuses and relaxes you and puts your recent difficulties into context. If you have lost sanity, you may restore 1 point. Oh, I cannot. I have not lost sanity. I have unfortunately not. Okay. Well, it was worth a shot, right? Well, let's continue. The afternoon wears on. You have not quite finished your reading when Winters glances out of the window and stands up. He clears his throat. Make a credit rating roll. Okay. Let's go with a credit rating roll. That's gonna be a 20. This is not very high. That is a fail. So let's go to here. I'm afraid I have some errands to run before dark, so I must close the library for today. I do hope you will return tomorrow afternoon if you are so inclined. You leave the building with Winters, waiting as he locks up. You thank him for the coffee and the access to the library. He disappears off down an alley. You hope to be away from the village before tomorrow afternoon, but it's good to know that there is a place you can occupy yourself. Okay. As the light fades, you return to the Ledbetter house and eat a light supper. May is unusually taciturn. Ruth's eyes flick to you several times during the meal. There is an urgency there you cannot quite interpret. Afterwards, May ushers the girl into their room. You have been an Emberhead for barely one whole day and you already feel confined by it, both geographically and socially. The evening seems to offer little. So, I can do some stargazing. I can attempt to speak to Ruth. If you have a previous appointment, this is the time to follow it up. Okay, is this where I can go? Let's look. So this would be 280. There is no such thing as a 280. So yes. So we go back to 180. I do not have an appointment. Okay. So, you know what? I kinda... I can go outside and I could also speak truth. Let's... I have a feeling I'm doing wrong decisions all the time here. Okay, so I really want to find out who that guy was that I found the first night. Let's do stargazing. Let's do stargazing. Maybe we can find that guy again. So that's 131. You stroll the streets of Emberhead. Already it feels like you know every corner, every doorstep. There are simply not that many of them. When you emerge into an open space, the star field above you is arresting. The streetlights of your hometown always interfered with the view, even on a clear night. But here, in this lofty blackness, a multitude of tiny diamonds shimmer between the more familiar stars. The spectacle occupies you for a few minutes. Upon returning your gaze to Earth, you notice a dark figure pressed behind a house. A loose stone skitters behind you. A second figure stares from an alleyway. I do have a bit of fighting brawl, but now there's two. I really do want to say, I think I really want to confront these guys, but this is... This is hard. This is a hard decision. I have a feeling if I confront these, I might actually go into combat. I might actually go into combat. But I really want to know what this is. I am going to confront them. You advance on one of the figures calling out. It slips into the shadows. By the time you round the corner, it is nowhere to be seen. You turn to the other figure, feeling a simmering anger. As you approach, it also melts away. But behind you, dim yard, first figure has reappeared. You could do this all night. The watchers know the village far better than you. Perhaps it is enough to have shown them you will not be cowed. Frustrated, you head back to the Ledbetter house. The familiar surroundings of your guest room are becoming constrictive. The neat bed, small wardrobe, and dressing mirror have the feel of a prison cell about them. What are you still doing here in Emberhead? Your new life is elsewhere. You lie on the bed and stare at a small crack in the ceiling. You turn over the day's events, thinking through the little details you spotted. You are certainly wary from the elevation and the fresh air. But do you still feel safe here? I can go asleep, or I can stay awake. I'm gonna stay awake. Sleep presses down on you. You blink it back and sit up, trying to think through your situation. Everything in Emberhead seems to be working to stop you leaving. Perhaps the answer is to strike out at first light. To walk as far and as fast as you can. You can always return for your possessions, and if you lose them, You have nothing so precious that it could not be replaced. Tiny creak draws your attention on the other side of the room. Slowly, almost silently, the doorknob is turning. I can grab it and wrench the door open. I can pretend to be asleep. I'm gonna pretend. Okay. You slide onto the bed and lie on your side, eyes closed. The hinges creak as the door opens. There is a long pause. The footfall sounds inside the room. Another. The steps are careful and feminine. You give it a moment, then open one eye a crack. May crouches with her back to you. She's fiddling with something in the fireplace. I can confront her, or I can wait and see what happens. I'm gonna wait and see what happens. After another few moments, May glances around at you. And you hear the soft scratch of a match being lit. She applies it to something in the gate and tiptoes from the room. Once you hear her bedroom door, you creep to the gate. A small mound of black powder, no bigger than a nimble, is burning here. It gives off meaty fumes. Okay, so I can make a hard science botany roll, which I'm not gonna do. I can extinguish the powder and sleep. Or I could stay awake through the night. Or I can relax and breathe the fumes out of curiosity. So I'm pretty sure if I'm gonna stay awake, I need to do constitution checks, which I'm not the very best at. I am not Jimmy Peterson. I'm gonna try and stay awake. Gonna try and stay awake. You stare out the window and watch as the sun reaches the horizon, bathing the village in sickly orange. It has been a long night, and you feel stiff and irritable. You rub your eyes. A few minutes later, you hear May bustling in the kitchen. Then the front door opens, closes. So, I now need to make a... constitution roll. And if I fail, I gain penalties on all my dice checks, which I don't want to. Please don't let me do this. Oh my god, it's a 51. But I can use luck on this one. I will use one damn luck point to turn it into a success. So we delete this and mark this. Now We have a 50. From the 51, it is now a 50. And we're going to turn this in. I'm not going to do disadvantage rolls from now on. This is going to suck. Okay. So, let's go to 64. I think we might go back to this music. The Ledbetter kitchen is empty, although bread and eggs have been laid out for your breakfast. There is a note from May explaining that she has taken Ruth out for a few hours. If you were involved in a fight in the village last night and want to investigate the aftermath, go to 70. I was not, so I am going to 78. You make a quiet circuit of the village, pausing in unobtrusive places to watch the villagers. It is rather busy for this time in the morning. Yawning locals stream back and forward along the roads, carrying bundles of split logs to the site of what you've heard referred to as the beacon. You see two figures already up in its superstructure, arranging the wood. The festival bonfire will be most impressive, but do you intend to stay to see it? You suspect by now that something is amiss here. While the villagers are distracted, you may do some illicit investigation, or you may simply leave town without looking back. So I can search May Ledbetter's room. I can go alone to the village hall. I can take a closer look to the artisan's courtyard. I can spy on activity at the beacon. I can slip down the east road and flee for good. I am not going to flee. I'm too deep in this shit now. I'm going to search May's bedroom. Despite her hospitality, you do not trust May Ledbetter. You return to her house quiet openly. Where else would you go? Inside the dwelling is still empty. You rap on the bedroom door and wait. Silence. You ease it open. The Ledbetter room is in marked contrast to your own. Need space. Dirty clothes are piled about the floor. On a rough quilt lie school books and cheap novels. You notice a raggedy old doll discarded down the side of the bed. Make a spot hidden. Okay, can I please, for once, make a spot hidden, please? Ah, finally! Okay. So I succeeded on this one because my spot hidden is 60 and this was a 48. Okay, so let's go to... You notice scrapes on the floorboards corresponding to the legs of the bed. With effort, you slide the bed away. There is a rug spread beneath it. And beneath the rug, a trapdoor. You ease it open. The dark space beneath is some kind of cellar. I'm obviously going to descend into the cellar. I'm not going to retreat again. So this is going to be 114. The daylight barely offers enough illumination to see. But a hot lantern during daytime would be very suspicious. You know what? Let's go with this. You squeeze beneath the floor and glance around. Your first impression is that May keeps her junk here, for there are many boxes of different sizes piled in untidy heaps. It takes a few seconds before you realize they are all traveling trunks or suitcases. There are about 20 of them. The implication hits you hard. Yet, maintain enough control to check the luggage tags. You count 8 or 9 different names before you stop, scrambling back up to the bedroom. Close the trapdoor with trembling fingers, returning the bed to its place. You feel a deepening unease about Emberhead this day in particular. Once you've attempted 3 of the options below, okay, I can take 3 options. Okay, so search the bedroom. I've already done that. Go alone to the village hall. I kind of want to do that. Take a closer look at the artisan's courtyard. Spy on activity at the beacon or flee for good. Okay, I think I'm gonna go to the village hall next. 26. Keeping away from the streets, you skirt the northern cliffs and approach the village hall from the rear. It is close to the beacon and you will not be able to use the door unobserved. You check the windows. The one on the east side facing the beacon is bricked up. The shutter is loose on the westernmost window, and you're able to ease it open and slide inside, closing the shutter behind you. You drop into the village meeting room and pad through, passing through dim shafts of light and listening to the excited chatter from the locals from outside. The door opposite reads private. Hearing nothing from the other side, you turn the handle. The room is lined with books. In the corner is a small water closet and a pantry. A quick survey of the rest of the room reveals little, so you turn to the bookcase. The dim light makes it difficult to read the spines. Is there anything useful here? Make a spot hidden roll. If you have examined this bookshelf before, you may have a bonus die. I did examine the bookshelf before, so I do get a bonus die. So, spot hidden. Come on, don't leave me hanging, bro. So this is a 20 already. It's not going to get any better than that. No, it's not. Okay, but I do make the spot hidden. So that was a 20 and a 60, which both would have succeeded. So go to 147. You're looking along the spines when you notice how close the bookcase is to the window on the north wall. From outside, there is a solid 3 or 4 feet between the edge of the window and the wall. And the bookcase covers the wall with a bricked up window. Further examination reveals an ingenious arrangement of slipcases physically attached to the shelves. When you pull to the left, an entire section of the bookcase wings out. The clatter of activity around the beacon seems to be building, and you flinch at every conversation that gets too close to the building door. To investigate behind the bookcase. I do want to investigate behind the bookcase. It's very dangerous right now, but I'm gonna do it. You squint into the darkness behind the bookcase. It is a small alcove, big enough for one person, and has a hidden shelf on either side. You cannot make out any titles in this light. To risk opening one of the cliffside windows a little. Or I can grab a few books and leave. Ooh, this is a spicy one. This is a very spicy one. Both don't sound very appealing. Somewhat dangerous. The thing is, I'm pretty sure taking the books is more dangerous in this situation, because they will eventually know that I'm the only one who took those, because they're all living in this town. I'm gonna try and open the window a little. So that's... Enough light spills into the room for you to make out titles. The contents of the alcove are quite different from the wider library. The books are much older, some are handwritten, and many are in strange scripts you do not recognize. You could spend a week in here just browsing through the bizarre volumes. Make a library use roll. Oh, I haven't used this yet. Library use is, I think I have that. 50. Okay, that's doable. That is a 7. That is going to do it. Okay, I either roll incredibly good or really shitty. Okay, so let's go to the success section. Oh, okay. This one could have been pushed, actually. So, yes, I need to use that. So, let's go to the success one. Most of the texts are too obscure for you to understand without an extended residency in a good library. You are drawn to a volume in a heavy slipcase, embossed with a dark red triangle. Its pages are in a spidery script, but the hand is neat enough that you can read it with effort. It seems to be one of a set of 7 discussing elements. Here, sulfur, mercury, and salt are added to the 4 classical elements. This book concerns fire. Flicking through the pages, you see astronomical diagrams, alchemical symbols, references to Dante, and speculations on the nature of damnation. Towards the end, there is a discussion of fire ceremonies and the transcription of 2 key rituals. Call ye celestial flames, and command ye celestial flames. You might be able to memorize one, but it will take time. This is all nonsense. You may checkmark the small box besides library. Oh yeah. Good thing that it says that. Library use. There we go. To memorize call ye celestial flames. To memorize command ye celestial flames. If you feel you've already pushed your luck enough, replace the volume and leave. Okay, so here's my theory. If I memorize Call Ye Celestial Flames, I might be able to completely... I might be able to disrupt this entire thing in the first place, so it doesn't take place. If I use Command Ye Celestial Flames, I might be able to command them to my will instead. Whatever that means. Like, I'm guessing they're doing some sort of fire ritual with this strange construct. I think I'm gonna try and do it safe by doing Call Ye Celestial Flames and try to disrupt them before it happens. So let's go there. You try to commit the wording of Call Ye Celestial Flames to memory. I'm also gonna write that down, by the way. Okay. According to the instructions, it will only be successful when the stars are right. There are diagrams and tables for calculating this period, but you do not have time for that right now. The full chant will take 20 seconds or so of single-minded concentration and apparently brings a terrible exhaustion to the user because of the distances involved. You have discovered a secret. If the situation seems right for it, The text may offer you the option to chant. At that point, if you want to try this ritual, add 40 to your current entry number and go to that new entry. Okay. Option plus 40. Okay. Okay. Tempting as it is to remove the book, it is too large to conceal. You slip it back onto the shelf and ease the bookcase back into place. Immediately you hear the scratch of a key in the hall door. You sprint for the open window. Make a dex roll. not the dex roll! Not the dex roll. Oh, I make it! It's a 38 and I need a 50, I think. Yes, I make it. Thank God. Okay. There we go. With a burst of speed, you dart through the hall. As you hear the door open, you throw yourself through the open window. There is no time to cover your intrusion, but you think you weren't actually spotted. Okay, very good. You feel a deepening unease about Emberhead, and this day in particular. Okay, that was the second option. I can do one more. And take a closer look at the artisan's courtyard. I kind of want to spy on the activity at the beacon. Let's go there. Activity at the beacon. That's the third one. The northern side of the village is bustling and you are unlikely to remain hidden there for long. You head in the direction of the church and then move up the east side behind the houses. A drop looms on your right. One particular section of ground is quite narrow and you have to hug the building for support. You may give this approach up and go to 120 or proceed and compare your size to your dex. If your dex is higher, go to 42. If your size is higher, make a natural world roll. The thing is, I think my dex and my size are the same. I'm pretty sure they are the same. So dex is 50 and size is also 50, so that doesn't apply. If your size is higher, make a natural roll if you succeed. So I can only give this approach up, so which means I'm going back to... Okay. All right. That was 3 options, so we continue. You are contemplating your next move when you see one villager, a bald man with a damaged ear, watching you intently. Some instinct makes you walk in the other direction. Then you see the others ahead, and to your sides a wary teenager, an evil-eyed matron, and a man hefting a club. They are not staring as obviously as the first, but they keep you under watch. And they are closing in. You cannot hope to overcome 4 of them at once. Try to lose them amongst the buildings. Yes, I will do that. You dart down an alley, turn, and head in a completely different direction. Running feet sounds behind you. For the first time, you feel Emberhead's cramped, chaotic streets work in your favor. You try to circle round towards the southern road. Make a stealth roll. I should have taken stealth! I told you so! If you succeed, you make... Okay. Stealth. Oh my god. This is gonna be a tough roll. This is gonna be a very tough roll. It's only 20%. That is a fail if I've ever seen one. So, let's go here. Here. You turn a corner and walk straight into the formidable woman with a malevolent stare. She grabs your shoulders and bears down on you. As you struggle, the man with the club runs with the teenager. You are quickly overcome. Is it time for some action music? Let's see if I have some action music. Okay. Let's see where this goes. I think it's not time for action music once I read this. Okay. The fading light from a narrow window tells you afternoon is giving way to evening. Your hands are shackled behind your back, so you cannot even lie down on a rough bed. A woman you have not seen before comes in. Her face is wrinkled and her eyes dull. They do not meet yours, but she puts a cup to your lips. I can accept the drink or reject it. I am obviously going to reject it after I have been handcuffed. And I think it might be time for this again. You turn your face away, and when she tries again, you dash the cup from her hands using the side of your head. The clear liquid spills across the floor. The woman gives a half shrug and turns to leave the room. You shout after her, but she gives no reaction. You soon become thirsty. As the light fades outside, your little prison becomes dark. You can hear much activity around the building. Occasionally, an orange glow passes the window. The only comfortable position the shackles seem to be to sit against the end of the bed with your arms hanging behind you. You need to concentrate and come up with a plan. There's clearly no escape from your bonds. You do not know exactly what your captors want from you, but you cannot ignore the fact that they have spent the entire day constructing a massive bonfire. The door scrapes, wrenching you back into the moment. Orange light spills into the house from blazing torches held at the threshold. Two large villagers step in and grab you. At least you assume they are villagers. They wear heavy black cloaks, and their faces and hands are painted entirely black, save only for a red triangle centered on their left eye. You try to drag your legs, but they reach under your arms and lift you bodily from the bed. Outside, it seems that the whole village has congregated to see you. Every single one has a blackened face with the red triangle motif. Torches sputter and spill fire. You struggle, but you can see physical resistance is hopeless. You are marched to the central street and turned to face the beacon. The procession down the approach is slow and formal, save when you sense the weakness and yank at your captors. A chill touches you when you see three human shapes carried ahead of you, draped in red cloth. The beacon looms larger and larger, its dreadful silhouette a black triangle pointing to the stars. A low drone begins among the cloaked figures. Unbidden, the word mourners comes to mind. Smoke from their torches makes you cough. You feel heat on your face. As you reach the cleared area around the beacon, 3 dancers break from the pack. Young girls swinging balls of fire in spectacular arcs, drawing circles in the night air. One by one, they draw close to you and touch your forehead with sooty fingers. Each kisses you 3 times. On the left cheek, right cheek, then forehead. Then they whisper in your ear. The smell of kerosene fills your nostrils. Make an appearance roll. That's exotic. I think I make it. I have 60 appearance, don't I? I have 60 appearance. I make it. Okay, nice. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Go to 10. This might be important. Through your sacrifice, the village will be reborn, says the first dancer. You pass from earth to air for all our sakes, says the second. I've awakened the chains, says the third. Don't try to escape until the flames are high enough to hide you. You stare at the third dancer. In that inky visage, you clearly discern the frightened features of Ruth Ledbetter. Their dance weaves off and disappears behind the buildings. As you arrive beneath the beacon, 10 villagers close in on you. Working with surprising coordination, they immobilize you and lift you up to the blackened iron stairs to the raised platform. You cannot help but shiver at the sight of the central framework, twisted from past blazes and what you can now clearly see to be fastening points for chain. None of the eyes meet yours as they lash you to the metal. The village sings now, something rhythmic and ancient, carved from odd syllables. The second group ascends to the beacon, carrying the 3 red-draped bodies. With reverence, they arrange their burdens in a triangle around your feet. Then they withdraw, leaving you alone with the dead, shin-deep in a sea of kindling. The call is that of a coyote, common in this area. Sorry. It seems the entire village is gathered around the beacon to watch you burn. Behind the face paint, you recognize May Ledbetter, and yes, that is Silas, the coach driver, standing at her side. The audacity and scale of the deception staggers you. A man steps up on days and raises his hands with quiet authority. The frame of the spectacle obscures the red triangle on his face. So we draw here together again on this night, as we do each year, and we give thanks to the one who will preserve the village against the fire of the void. You will be taken by the ones from above in our stead. Your death will bring life to our streets and bounty to our fields. It will safeguard our children and our elders alike for another year. We salute you. He bows his head. All around the beacon, bearers step forward and lift their torches, to the edge of the raised platform. A ring of tiny flames flicker up around the perimeter. As they wink, the singing of the villagers drops into an unearthly rhythm. To throw your remaining strength against the bonds, or to wait and see what happens. I am very much not intrigued by this. I kinda want to try and escape. I wanna... Do I? Yeah, I want to. You're tired, and your flesh out to be insufficient against the dark iron of the chains. Yet you can feel them give a little. There is a weakness in one of the links. Make a hard strength roll. Which is going to be a 25. That is a fail. The flames snake across the kindling, catching and rising. Smoke rises and it becomes difficult to see the villagers. The three bodies surrounding you catch fire, blazing with sooty red flames. You begin to cough as the smoke enters your lungs and fight down the urge to panic. If you have learned a strange chant and wish to try it, this is the moment. Okay, guys, this is it. We add 40 to this and start singing the hell out of this. So this is where we're going to go to 80. You clear your throat and begin the ritual you found in the strange book, pronouncing the strange syllables as best as you can. You know the fire is slipping ever closer by the touch of heat on your face, yet you put up your panic aside and concentrate on completing the chant. As you speak the weird words, you become aware that the song of the villagers has shifted, and they too are chanting. Your stomach lurches. You are chanting exactly the same sounds. The flames catch your clothes and you are racked by excruciating pain. You lift your head, trying to hold it out, the pitiless fire. And what you see takes you out of your agony for a moment. Because the stars themselves are falling, plunging from the sky to rain on Emberhead. You dimly notice the villagers switch to a different chant. But your body is ablaze. For a moment, you fancy that you, too, are a star. Then everything goes molten white. The end. You have burned to death in the beacon. Well, that was quite a shitty ending. Not gonna lie. But it was not, I want to say, this was a lot more fun than I thought it was, than I thought it would be. And I was a bit skeptical at the start because I didn't think that I would be immersed so much. I really was immersed, not gonna lie. And I think I might do these in the future again. So, well, that was interesting and a lot of unfortunately failed rolls. Ah, man, I really wish I would have gone. I would have followed that guy in the in the small cavern at the start. I kind of hate myself for that. Okay, but yeah. Okay, so, well, what can I say? I'm dead. This is how it happens in Cthulhu, right? Sometimes you just die and you can't really do anything about it because you're just having wrong decisions at the wrong time. And also dice rolls, right? So, well, thank you very much for watching, and I really hope I can do this in the future again. This was really fun. I mean, how long did this take now? This took like, well, just about 2 hours, which is fine, totally fine. Well, I guess, yeah, that's the end. So I wish you have a nice and safe evening. Until next time.